Welcome to the configuration video that demonstrates SMTP email server configuration as well as LDAP configuration. Defining SMTP and LDAP server is optional for the operation of the XDM server. I'll use the Configuration Manager XDM Server tab to select the SMTP resource and click Add. In VX.2, we added the option to define the sender of emails. You might find it useful to receive emails when the sender is xdmserver@yourcompany.com. Next, fill in a name for the SMTP, the server, and the port. Consult with your IT admin if you also need to provide user and password for authentication and if you should use SSL for communicating with the SMTP server. All those options are supported. Once I have all the configuration defined, I can check connection to verify that those are valid. Make adjustments if needed, and run the check again. I can also send a test email. You can define multiple SMTP or mail servers, and for each you should provide a unique section name, server and port, as well as determine if SSL should be used or not. Since some SMTP servers requires authentication, you should use the username and password as shown here. Remember that defining a mail server is optional. However, if you do not have it defined, the applications you deploy on the XDM server will not be able to send emails for collaboration between clients. Just above the SMTP configuration, we have the LDAP configuration. By default, an internal XDM server authentication mechanism will be used to authenticate users of the XDM server. However, the XDM server can be configured to use LDAP for authentication in addition to the default XDM server authentication, or totally to replace the internal authentication. Therefore, LDAP configuration is optional. You can define one or more LDAP servers to reflect your network setup. Defining multiple LDAP servers provides redundancy, and if you have multiple LDAP servers, you should take advantage of that and define them all. For each LDAP definition, you should provide a name, the LDAP server, and port. You have the option to check the configuration before saving it. If the LDAP is secured by SSL, make sure to define that as well. Optionally, you can provide the LDAP server certificate file and the file format. However, if a certificate is needed and you do not provide it now, the certificate will be downloaded automatically from the LDAP server. In some cases, the same LDAP server alias can be implemented based on multiple servers and thus multiple certificates. Verify this with your IT administrator and provide all the server certificates by adding more certificates files to the LDAP configuration. Please keep in mind that you are not done just by configuring LDAP in the Configuration Manager. After you deploy the XDM server, you will need to complete the LDAP setup by using the XDM Web Admin. Under Settings, Authentication, you have few steps to finish the activation of LDAP. This is out of scope for this video training. For more information, please refer to the manual called IT Professional Guide to the XDM Server Utilities. In this training, we demonstrated configuration of XDM Server with SMTP and LDAP.